Stars in the sky, cards in my hand, searching for signs, lost in the sand. Whispers of fate, echoes of dreams in the dark slate. Nothing's as it seems. Flip the cards, turn around mystery.
Good morning once again. My name is Jamie with MyTarot.org. So, boy, again, it was one of those mornings because I was up pretty late last night. Because Mina had some friends over, and I am somebody who needs 8 hours sleep. Made it. Got my dose for the day. That's so right. How can it be September 20? I've seen you on Facebook. May I send you a friend request? Of course, Lee. Oh, that's Jenna. I was going to say we are already friends. So, Jenna and Lee, you guys, you're both up north. So, yeah, this morning, didn't want to get out of bed. Then it's that run, hurry up rush. But again, I like to emphasize, it's like everybody needs a light switch that says, okay, I'm just stopping. This is my gift to myself. So my light switch is just when I hear the cards, I listen to them like the sounds of the ocean. Other people, it could be ringing a bell. And it goes, oh, I just rang a bell. All right, world, go away. And a lot of times when I'm reading for people, if the Hermit comes up in particular, sometimes I just ask people a simple question. What is your mountain? They're like, huh? What is your mountain? So when you need to just step away, get away from the kids, get away from the spouse, get away from the noise. You know, some people's mountain can be just a corner with cushions on it. My mountain is my tarot room. You know, it's that place where we can go and just think. So, this morning we are doing our daily inventory, our morning reflection where the universe holds up that mirror and asks us, what do we see? How you doing there, Maureen? I've seen your mountain, Maureen, in your videos. You have an amazing house. So, feet are flat on the floor, my butt's comfortable in the seat, shoulders relaxed, and neck is relaxed. And now we're just going to check in. So I'm going to make our stacks, 3 of them. Each one a different thread going out to the universe. Each one is like a different path, and if we believe in the multiverse, it's like there's 3 different paths here. Because this stack will lead down one path, this conversation a different one, and this one someplace completely different. And it is... Well, today is the 20th. So, I am going to grab the middle stack, or the one that I like to think of as just being at the heart and the center of things. And I'm going to do our 3 and 1. So, I'm going to flip each card over one at a time, like each one of these is a different page in a book. Ooh, and the first one. So, we have, it's interesting because this is the deck from the 1700s, and it's not even labeled. It's our card 13, it's death. And you know, this even reminds us, because we have a king, we have a pauper, you know, transitions happen, and there's things that we cannot avoid. Transition is going to happen. So death is about moving from one place to another, moving from one point in our lives to another. And death is looking really intently at this card here. And I just want to say that this is a child who is staring death bravely in the eye. So we have our page, and again, I think every day this week, the page has been coming up. And pages in the 1500s, when the tarot was being made, these are the kids that were sent to a different duke kingdom, someplace, where the children of these royals, the noble people, can learn how to become the citizen they're supposed to be. So the page is learning to become a knight, to become and for us, we move to the queen and the king. But they're willing to learn, they're there to learn. And we have a page of cups here. Cups are feelings, emotions, waters. I know, another page. And court cards can be us, or they can be somebody else. Or they could just be part of the situation. But it's almost as if here it's like we have moved to a transition period. And then once we get through it, looking back, and this page is almost looking back as if it's like, what was there to be afraid of? Because remember that when we come at something fresh, young, uncertain, with that attitude, from here, we're lamenting. It's like, I'm looking at the past where, I don't want to turn around and face this, but it's almost as if here we get to look back and say, what was I scared of? So what does this card say? Wow. Okay. So it's the moon. And what is the moon? The moon is, as I always like to describe this, it's walking through our fears. And the way I put this, and sometimes I sound like I'm repetitive, but it's true. It's, if you're walking through a forest at night and it's twilight, you can't really see very well, and you look over to the left and you see something. And our instinct tell us immediately, is this something that's going to eat me or not? Should I run, or should I, is it okay to keep going? And when we're in that dark phase, like when we go through a transition, when we get into this phase of the unknown, then we look at that log, and it can be our fears that are guiding us, our anxieties that are guiding us, and we can just say, instead of going through and walking the path and going through the moon card, the fear, instead we say, you know what, I'm going to stop. I'm going to maybe try this again tomorrow. I just can't handle the anxiety. But again, if we're going through that same woods and it's light out and we can see, we'll realize that it's not something that can attack. It's not a dog. It's not a bear. It's just a piece of wood. It's a log sitting over there. But sometimes our anxieties and our fears can cloud us just like twilight. And if we use our instincts, because we learn to trust ourselves, if we have our intuition, then we will realize, we'll acknowledge these fears. It's like, I understand the potential for danger here, but you know what? I know it's not. And we can walk through. Long explanation. And why the long explanation? Because life is full of changes. We look back at where we came from sometimes, when it's financial changes, when it's emotional changes, when it's fears. And, we come through and we learn something and we realize, you know what, I made it through. But there's always the next challenge. And yet, sometimes, even though we know that we will make it through each challenge, we look back, we have the proof that we made it through the challenge. When we get to the next challenge, how are we going to react to it? Are we going to do the same thing? The fear, the anxiety, how many times have people said, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be? Or that could have been much worse. I mean, life is full of crises, and it's just the last one that we don't survive, right? So I'm only emphasizing this because we have two majors here. We're balancing out this page card. So I'm going to flip over the advice card. And it's temperance. So when we have this many majors, so the minor cards, the 1, 2, 3, the numbered cards, those are day-to-day cards. Those are cards that are just everyday life, But when we get to the majors, those are the destiny cards. And so the advice card here, when we come to temperance is about finding a balance. Temperance is about not too much, not too little, whether it's going to a party and drinking, or whether it's just how much TV we're watching or screen time on our phone because, I should be doing something else, but here I am doom scrolling. It's about finding that balance. And we have breath in balance. We have a calm in balance. And these two cards here are a balance. Change, how we handle the change afterwards, and then the moon card again. Change. Because we have to walk through these changes. So for today, as we emphasize temperance, am I getting too angry? Do I have an emotional balance? Again, I like to emphasize halt. Don't go hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Because when we go through the next challenge, if we're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, we're going to hit the moon card. And we're just going to be like, I can't deal with this today. So, remember HALT. HALT. And just remember that it's like life is full of crises, and it's just the last one that we don't survive. And also, nobody likes to go through these things, but it really is how we grow. People who, you ever wonder why rich people with serious amounts of money are so miserable? You would think that it's like they could just get a villa on the Amalfi Coast in Sorrento and just stare at the ocean for the rest of their lives. But when there's no challenges to our soul, life-changing challenges, things to overcome, we learn from the mountain. We don't learn from just rolling downhill. We need the mountain. We need that challenge to climb. Because you hear about these people winning the lottery and committing suicide. So yes, the challenges are tough and we all acknowledge it. But once we get through this challenge and we've learned, then just like this page here, it's kind of ignoring what the next challenge is. As he's like, oh, well, that wasn't too bad. But there's always going to be the next challenge. But if we find a balance, if we accept this is life, and we don't drink over the challenge, or we don't get angry over the challenge, or we don't get emotional over the challenge, then we're spiritually preparing ourselves for the next one. So, with that, and I really appreciate this reading. This is a great reading for me to take through to the weekend. And I hope everybody here also has an amazing weekend. And what is Maureen saying here? Ghost babies. Temperance sweetens the bitter wine, or truth strengthens the steeled flexibility. That's really beautiful. So with that, have that amazing weekend. Have that amazing evening today, afternoon, wherever you are. And I will see you again on Monday. Take care, everybody.